Thank you, everybody, for being here. Wanted to report on our trip to New York City last week. With me, we've got Mayor Buckhorn, Dave Pizzo, the chairman of the EDC, and Mayor Frank Jalora from Temple Terrace. Also, Eric Miller. What is your actual title here? It's DTCC, runs all the Tampa operations for DTCC.
Yeah, managing director and head of our DTCC Tampa office.
Much better said. So we took a high-level delegation to New York City last week to meet with New York companies that have significant operations here in Tampa-Hillsborough County, but have their headquarters in New York. The delegation consisted of Hillsborough County Commission Chairman Ken Hagan, Mayor Bob Buckhorn, Mayor Frank Jalora, David Pizzo, the chairman of our board, our vice chairman, Alan Brinkman, myself, and other EDC staff members. We went up on Wednesday morning, came back, most of us came back on Friday evening, and met with the following companies. With Morgan Stanley, that had recently announced 110 new jobs in Temple Terrace. With DTCC, that recently announced 255 new jobs at its facility in North Tampa. With Time Warner, which is in the process of hiring up to 500 employees for their new shared service center in West Shore. We also met with PwC, with JP Morgan Chase, with Citibank, and with UBS. We also met with a confidential prospect that's looking to bring up to 100 very high-paying jobs to Hillsborough County. Together, the companies that we met with employ over 10,000 people here in Tampa Bay, so they have a significant economic impact. Our purpose going there was just simply to say thank you to these companies. And they employ so many of our people, and they contribute so many hours, hundreds, thousands of hours to volunteering for nonprofit organizations. On Wednesday night, we worked with the Tampa Port Authority to attend a dinner at 21 in New York for their clients in the New York area. And as a gesture of appreciation from us to the companies that we met with, on Thursday night we hosted these companies at the New York Yankees Tampa Bay Rays game, and also had the opportunity to meet with both Stu Sternberg, the owner of the Tampa Bay Rays, and also with Hal Steinbrenner of the New York Yankees. Each of the companies that we met thanked us for meeting with them, and I think the most startling thing that came from this was that they said that they seldom, if ever, have had visits like this from communities where they have operations, and it meant a lot to them to have us sitting there and simply saying thank you to each one of them for the work that they do here in Tampa Bay. With that, Mayor?
Just for the record, the Rays won the series. I did not have to throw out the first pitch. That was a good thing. Neither did Commissioner Hagan, although we both were willing and able to do that. It was a good trip. It's interesting because I go back to 1988, and B, you'll remember this, when Solomon Brothers came, which was the first major relocation of a New York financial services center to the Tampa area. There has been a significant migration south for a lot of reasons. But I think first and foremost is that we are a community that understands what their needs are, that reflects their personalities, that celebrates our diversity as a strength, so their workforce that comes here feels welcome. And as a result of that relationship built up over 20, 25 years, we now have a footprint, as Rick said, of over 10,000 employees in the financial services arena. The reason we went there is to acknowledge that, to express our appreciation to these companies, and to remind them as they go through their reorganizations and as they expand or contract or as they move business units around the country for economies of scale, that this community has a long relationship with them, has a successful marriage, if you will, and is standing by and ready, willing, and able to accommodate more. And so I think, hopefully you'll get a chance to talk to Eric and talk about the DTCC experience. But I think almost universally, all of these corporations, these are huge multinational corporations, really, really enjoy having operations here in Tampa. And I think you're going to see more as the tax burden in the Northeast gets increasingly higher, and the cost of doing business is increasingly larger and tougher, and Florida becomes an even more welcome alternative for them. It was a great visit. I think it will pay dividends in the long run and in the not so distant future. And I think it's something that we need to do more of. And like Rick said, the fact that they don't often see mayors coming to them to express their appreciation and not asking anything in return, I think goes a long way to solidify those relationships, and it puts us front and center as they go through their decisions as in terms of where's the best place to do business. Clearly, we are front and center on their lists, and I think over time that will prove to be an even more worthwhile investment, and that's why these trips are so important.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor?
Thank you. Well, first, I want to thank the EDC for coming up with this idea. I think it was very productive and highlighted the Tampa Bay area. We went up, and it really puts these executives at ease when you go up there and you're not asking for anything. You're actually going up there just to say thank you. And we're here to help and accommodate you and brag about our city. It was a great relationship building exercise. The feedback, we were interested in feedback. How do you guys like the Tampa Bay area? What could be done differently? And it was all so positive. And that is very helpful to us because that helps us build the future of tomorrow in the Tampa Bay area. We promoted the Tampa Bay area by explaining all the different amenities we have and the quality of life that is here. Matter of fact, Mayor Buckhorn one night gave a great speech at the Port of Tampa event, and I afterwards jokingly walked over to him and said, "Man, I just want to move over to Tampa. This is a great job."
You can't be the mayor, though. We'll share.
But it was all very passionate, and it was from the heart, and that's what these different corporations really appreciated. As stated before, this hasn't been done before, that most of them responded to us with, and I just think that really goes a long ways. A couple of them gave experiences. PwC said, you know, it was a great experience coming to Tampa, and they wanted to put some lights around the front of the building. And through the mayor's office, they were able to get that done. And that one little exercise really stood out. And that person was sort of bragging about how great it was to come here. It's very important that we offer incentives. The prospect company that we met with made it clear that was a very important feature that they were looking at, and they wanted a clear understanding of the incentives, because as we compete with these other cities, those are very big factors. The colleges that we have in town are a big attraction because of the talent that they put out. So we learned quite a bit, and some of these organizations wanted to know more about our schools, which we have very good schools, our transportation, and they also looked at something very important. They wanted to look at expanding because they wanted to diversify their operations. After 9/11, after Hurricane Sandy, I mean, these are things that, you know, we can capitalize on. The companies want to react and make their operations that much better and smoother, and certainly we can benefit from that. But overall, it was a great trip. I appreciate the invitation, and we're looking forward to bringing more companies to the Tampa Bay area.
Thanks, Mayor. Dave?
Great, thank you, Rick. Just want to reinforce everything everyone else said, but one of the things for me was just reflecting back this weekend after the trip, and I have to tell you, it was exhilarating. Just thinking back at all of the headquartered companies that we visited with that have significant employment here, and just the opportunity that everyone represents to grow further. It was great, and I hope Tampa Bay could hear this from everyone, just hearing that feedback of their experiences, including at TCC, the experiences there and these employers and employees have had in Tampa and Hillsborough County. And it's great hearing that, whether it was special help that they needed for lighting for a building, whether it's permits to expand, such as Morgan Stanley. They were very complimentary of the work that the City Council and the Mayor have done in preparation for that expansion here. That was fantastic. I do want to also say that They gave very positive feedback on the ability to find qualified workforce. There seemed to be no issues, and there were partnerships in place with USF and some of the other universities and colleges that helped that. And one in particular was with Citi, that they brought up an opportunity on anti-money laundering efforts, and in fact, University of South Florida had already begun working on a program to help with that area, which is a booming area. There are other opportunities that came up in this discussion is outside the normal business realm on the community side. For example, J.P. Morgan does a lot to support the military, and they have a program called the Deployment to Employment Program. And it's things like that that we want to make sure that we're certainly engaged as a community and that are very, very helpful. But overall, extremely positive and a great trip, and I think there's going to be a lot of very good growth that comes out of this.
Great.
Thank you.